Tathagatambhe Matabhavani Jayambe Jayambe Jagatambe 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 Matabhavani Jayambe. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our first House of Yoga virtual podcast.
Tuesday Talks with Durga Devi and Shiva Das. It does rhyme.
Thank you for including me. So maybe we should start out for those people that don't know us and just talk a little bit about who we are.
Oh gosh, okay.
Just briefly.
Just briefly.
Yeah.
You start.
Well, my name is David Shiva Das. This is Abhi Durga Devi. And we began our yogic journey back a long, long time ago. Back in the 90s, I suppose it was, right? 90s, 2000, 90s-ish. And we both started practicing yoga. We were primarily practicing Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga and also Jiva Mukti Yoga, which is kind of has Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga integrated in it. That's for another talk about what Jiva Mukti Yoga is. But we began practicing yoga together, separately though. We didn't know each other at the time. And eventually we ended up starting our own yoga studio in 2004, really, right?
It was founded,
Founded in 2004 in a church. And then in 2005, we found a building in Berkeley and opened up our doors in January 2006.
Correct. Yeah.
We ran the yoga studio with daily classes, and we had a lot of visiting yoga teachers, and also including musicians that did kirtan like we did at the beginning here. We believe that it's part of our foundation of yoga, and it is part of yoga. So we invited people to do pujas, rituals, mantra chanting, all kind of things like that. And we ended up closing our doors in January 2021, primarily because of the COVID outbreak. And since then, we've been doing things virtually. So here we are today, doing a virtual talk. So that's the short story. Our story is long, strange, and mysterious, and exciting as well in parts. But we'll save that for another time.
Yeah. We really wanted to talk about what's going on in the yoga world and share teachings from our teacher, Mark Whitwell, and, you know, how to find a good yoga teacher out there, and what does that mean to be a good yoga teacher, right?
And the reason that we want to start with this topic is because we know there's just in the Metro Detroit area, there's a ton of yoga teachers. There's a ton of yoga studios, some of them better than others. From my experience, there's a lot of not so good yoga teachers out there. I hate to say that, but there are also some very good yoga teachers. And, you know, originally when yoga was started, when it was, I wanted to say when it was founded, but it really wasn't founded, maybe back thousands and thousands of years ago.
When it was first like being taught.
Yeah. And this is all from our yoga teacher. We both have a yoga teacher that we consider our primary hatha yoga teacher, a man named Mark Whitwell, who is still alive, still in this existence with us right near in our times, our contemporary, our friend. Yoga was originally taught one-on-one. It wasn't taught in a group like most of us, like including ourselves. We found our way to yoga by going to a group yoga class. But it was originally done one-on-one, teacher and student. And the student would ask a question, would ask the teacher to teach them yoga, and they would undertake a yoga practice, including all aspects of yoga, not just physical practice, but the mental practice, the spiritual practice, the discipline of yoga, breathing, correct eating, depending on the particular person's constitution. Yeah.
And the teacher would get to know the student first. So the student might have a question, but the teacher would also ask questions to the student. So in very much the same way when you go to the doctor and the doctor asks you a bunch of your history and a bunch of questions. And so you develop this one-on-one relationship with the teacher and the student together for a beneficial relationship for the student, so that the student can receive what they really need, like yoga as medicine, yoga as healing for the body, for the mind, for the energy, spirit. For the spirit, the whole being, not just I want six-pack abs or a yoga butt. That's not what they talked about.
So one of the things that I still teach yoga. I teach 7 to 8 classes a week to a group of people. And one of the things that I always recommend to people that come to my class, I always like to want to naturally call them students, but they're really not students. They're just fellow participants in the yoga class. One of the things that I always suggest to people is to go out and find a good qualified yoga teacher and find out something about them, find out how long they've been teaching. If they've been teaching for a year, that may be a sign that maybe you might want to look for somebody else that has a little bit more experience. Maybe somebody that's really investigated yoga, that really knows all the aspects of yoga and has some good understanding of things like the chakras, of the energy, of what it takes.
Pranayama, how to breathe.
Right.
And also, a certification doesn't make a yoga teacher a good yoga teacher. A piece of paper is nothing. The direct experience, and we're going to go through the qualities to find a good yoga teacher. These are the things you want to look for.
Yeah, so, and the reason I say this is because, like I said, unfortunately, the reality is there's a lot of bad yoga teachers out there. And
they're not really ready to teach yoga.
Right.
They may have a really good intention.
Yeah.
But as far as delivering what the student really needs, there's a lot of inexperienced yoga teachers out there. Right. So you have to be discerning. This is part of being a yogi, is having that sort of discernment and being able to find a good yoga teacher that's right for you.
And trust your own instincts.
Yeah.
Our culture, our yoga culture today over the past maybe 20 years has developed this thing that the teacher needs some type of certification. And this can be for a separate discussion, but the certification process is very flawed. And so you want to look for somebody that is a really good yoga teacher, not meaning that they can do every yoga posture to perfection. That doesn't really qualify a teacher to be a good yoga teacher. The first time Durga Devi and I met our teacher, the first thing that he said, we were in a discussion in a class with him. There was like 200 or 300 other people there. We were sitting right up front. The first thing he said to everybody is he said, the more beautiful your yoga teacher is, the more they can do asana, the more people they have following them, the quicker you should run in the opposite direction. We know, and you can investigate this for yourself, because part of your process should be to investigate for yourself and use your own intuition. We know that there's a lot of yoga teachers out there who are only really more concerned with how many followers they have, how popular they are on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or social media in general, than they are about teaching people real yoga.
That are going to benefit the student's well-being and growth and personal development.
So let's talk about the three main things that you as a yoga student or as somebody that wants to do yoga or wants to really investigate yoga on a deeper level, even if you've practiced for 20 years, we always want to deepen our practice, deepen our understanding. So these are the three main things that you should investigate for yourself when looking for a really good yoga teacher.
So your teacher should have a teacher. They shouldn't be the inventor of yoga or that they created this sequence and they patented it, The lineage is important. Yeah. And the fact that they had a direct teacher teaching them in person to transmit the teachings. Mm-hmm. We've been blessed that we've had a lot of teachers. We've been with Mark Whitwell several times. Yeah. And to be with Sharon Gannon and David Life and to receive this direct connection and hands-on teachings. Yeah. Very important. And that your teacher continues to go back to source, to the teachings, so they don't get lost, because what's happening today, and this is one of the reasons we wanted to make this video, is that the real yoga is getting lost. And Mark Whitwell is still out there, and he's really trying to save the authenticity.
Yeah, he's really trying to preserve it.
Of Krishnamacharya's lineage, and that's our lineage. And that's probably your lineage, and you might not even know it. Yeah.
Now, the reason that we bring up investigating if your teacher has a teacher, how can you tell if your teacher has a teacher? You can go and ask them, who is your teacher? Where did you learn yoga from? Okay. Now, your teacher should be able to trace their teachings of yoga, what they've learned, back to Krishnamacharya or some source. Now, Krishnamacharya died in 1984, I think, so he's still, for most of us, he's still our contemporary. He lived in the modern world, but Krishnamacharya himself, who was our teacher's teacher also had a lineage of teachers that can be traced back factually, hundreds of years to the past. Now, the reason that we bring this up is that one of the clues, if your teacher doesn't really have a teacher, is when they teach you a class, they never mention their teacher. When we teach our classes, and we're not trying to boost our own egos or tell you that we're really good teachers, but when I teach my class personally, I always say, my teacher always said this, my teacher always said that, and the reason is that I want to stay connected. I want to let what I've learned from my teacher flow through me. And if you go to a particular yoga studio, and there's plenty of yoga studios out there, not only in the Detroit area, but out there all over the place in our culture today, that the teachers want to make you think that like Durga Devi said, like they invented yoga. And people like this are very unwilling to invite other teachers to come and teach because they want to be the source, right? They want to be the authority. And this just gets to be an authority thing. Like, I want to be the expert. So make sure your teacher has a good teacher.
Because you're receiving that energy too. Mm-hmm. You're receiving not just the physical practice, the instruction, and the experience, but you're receiving the energy of the lineage. And this can be very powerful. And a student might not be aware of it, but it's like the whole idea of planting seeds. Mm-hmm. And so planting those seeds of the energy and the authenticity of the lineage is very important.
Yeah. And the other thing that you might want to consider is that a yoga teacher who wants to portray the illusion that they are the source, what are they really teaching from? Are they teaching from ego? Or are they teaching from their teacher's understanding and their lineage?
Right. And
Very
so this goes into the quality of the teacher, and this goes into the gunas. You want a teacher that's sattvic, meaning they're truthful. They're going to tell you the source of information. They're going to share honestly from their heart because they care about you, mm-hmm. which is quality number 3.
Yeah.
But if it's from ego, like Shivadas is saying, that's rajasic quality. It's more of attachment, like they want to keep you as a student, right. Like they need you. Right. They want you to like them.
Right.
And then if it's like because they want you to, join up with something else or they're trying to manipulate you, then that's a tamasic teacher. They want to keep you kind of stuck and needing them.
That's just good business, right? Then it becomes business. And when it's business, they have no interest in helping you to do your own yoga, which should be the ultimate goal. And this is one thing that our teacher, Mark Whitwell, impressed upon this almost immediately the first time we've met him. And we still stay in touch with Mark, who is our teacher. Once in a while, he'll reach out to us. Sometimes we have Zoom conversations. He lives in New Zealand, so not easy to get in touch with him. And he does have students and other yoga teachers that he's authorized all around the world. But one of the things that Mark always says is that your job as a yoga teacher should be able to put yourself out of business, meaning that you should teach your students how to do their own practice in their own space in private. And he doesn't really mean that, you should go out of business. I mean, I know a lot of people, including ourselves. I mean, we
did it.
we sustain ourselves, through teaching yoga. But our goal is always to teach the student how to do their own yoga practice. Now, they may want to do their own yoga practice, but they might want to come back from time to time and take a group class, and there's nothing wrong with that because we are social creatures. But the main point of it is that as a yoga teacher, you should be teaching others to do their own practice so they don't need you anymore. And that should be the ultimate goal. And, there's plenty more people where that came from, right? Anyway, if you become a really good teacher, students will come, right?
And they might not need you, but I'm just going to jump to the third quality, because the third quality is of a good yoga teacher is that they care about you and they're your friend. And so as we have taught many students, they may not need us, but they still want to see us.
Right.
And they still want to connect, and they still want to receive that energy, that transmission from the lineage. They still want to hear the stories from the teachers, you know? Right. So that's where you want to be. And when you have students like that, you can have a really good relationship. And so the quality of having a teacher that cares about you and they're a friend to you, right, is a quality you want to look for from your teacher. And yes, it's a student-teacher relationship, but it's also friend to friend, as Shivadas was saying. You're not like the teachers up here and the students down here. You're on the same level as human beings, and there's this mutual respect and recognition that's really heart-based about caring about each other. So we care about our students, and we hope most of our students care about us. But regardless, we care about our students. We check in with our students. We know our students. We know their history. And so therefore, we can best teach and offer the teachings that are right for them.
Look at it this way. If you've ever known somebody, and perhaps you've even been to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or some type of counselor, from my experience, these people really don't want to heal you. They want to keep you as a patient because this is the way they make their living. Of course, that doesn't seem right. It seems backwards, right? It seems like they should be healing people and then sending them on their way and then, working with another person. So it's the same thing in yoga many times, not all the time, not exclusively, but many yoga studios and many yoga teachers want to just keep their students, right? So that they are always with them and they're just building up a following. They don't want to help you to fix whatever needs to be fixing to stabilize your life, which is why we really come to yoga. It's a practice that helps us to stabilize our body, our mind, our emotions, things like that, so that we can go on with our life. If everything was perfect, if we started doing yoga and everything became perfect in our lives, we felt a pervasive sense of well-being, we've felt healthy, we felt alert and alive, why would we need to continue to even have a yoga practice, right? But most of us, we need to have some maintenance, so we continue to do a yoga practice. But
and also to grow spiritually, because once we do have our basic needs met, as far as our physical health is stable and we feel good and we have good energy, then it's like, then what? And what is yoga really? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation to have. Yoga, we want to be our highest self. You can say connect to God, but you can also say that God is within, and God is our highest self, that divine energy within us. And so we don't get it from out there, we get it from inside. As you progress in your yoga practice, you begin to turn inward more. And so a lot of these things we're talking about will happen naturally over time, but we're kind of giving you the shortcut, to not look outward so much at what your yoga teacher's wearing today in class, or their latest hair color, or, appearance, because that's really not real and not lasting, and that's not going to get you to that state of yoga, because yoga is a state of being one with the universe. As Mark Whitwell always says, you are the cosmos. The universe is inside you. It's not all out there. And so to get that to that state, it takes a while, and it takes authentic practice, and it takes an authentic relationship with your teacher, student-teacher relationship.
Yeah. So we could talk about that all day, I think, why we might want to continue with the yoga practice, because like I said earlier, once we get to that state where we feel good, we're happy, we're peaceful, then why would we need yoga? But the reality is that we do need to maintain that state as best as we can, primarily because the world around us is always changing, including our own bodies. Our own bodies change over time. They get older. Things start to fail. We might need to change the foods we eat, or, how we manage our exercise schedule. The world is a crazy place today. We need to maintain stability. So one of the reasons why we continue to do a yoga practice. And if you have a good yoga teacher, you should be able to call your yoga teacher or schedule some private time with them and talk about these things. Every time you feel a little off center, like something's going astray or awry, then you have a conversation, and they may be able to give you some other practices to do, or tweak your practices a little bit. So this is why our teacher always said, you should be no more than a friend and no less than a friend to your students. Now, so we skip to the third important thing about the qualities of a good yoga teacher. We have that the teacher themselves should have their own teacher, and they should be able to explain their lineage to you, and they should be transmitting the lineage of the teacher, what they've learned. They should care about you as a friend. And the other quality is that they have a daily practice, that they actually do what they're telling you to do.
Yes. And this changes. So a daily practice, you might be an Ashtangi, we started with Ashtanga. So our daily practice was doing short form Ashtanga of an hour. That's not our daily practice today, but we still have daily practices. And so the daily practice of a teacher may shift, and that is a good thing, because as the teacher gains the wisdom about what they need, then that's what they're sharing with you as well. So I still remember Godfrey Devereaux, who stayed here at this house with us when he came to the church. He was our first yoga teacher that we brought in for a workshop. And he asked if I wanted to practice with him in the morning. And I was like, I was a little nervous. And he said he practiced Ashtanga. I said, oh, great, that's my practice. So I'm doing the jump backs, and he's not doing the jump backs. He's stepping back. And he modified, and I watched him, and I was fascinated. And he made a comment afterwards. He's like, your practice will shift. And he had that foresight, because he was an Ashtangi too. And he used to do all that and was very athletic. And he was still in brilliant health when he came to see us. He was probably, late 50s maybe when he came. Anyways, my point is, my practice now isn't so physically based. I do a morning puja, I do mantra, and then I do a simple hatha yoga practice, and it's much more balanced and more grounding and offers more insight. And I'm not forcing my body to do asana that is really not appropriate for my body anymore. Right. I can still do Ashtanga, but that's not my first choice.
How do you know if your teacher has a daily practice and what their daily practice is? Well, you can go and ask them. Everybody has time to do something. 7 minutes, 10 minutes of something. A little asana practice for sure, because our teacher, Mark Whitwell, said you should do asana, pranayama, and then meditation comes as a natural result of your asana and your pranayama practice. So there should be meditation included in that, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. I try to do as much as I can. I try to do a 15-minute meditation at least once a day. Ideally, it's probably better to do twice a day if you can. But don't let your teachers, when you ask them what their daily practice is, don't let them BS you into saying, well, I play my guitar. That's my daily practice. Playing a guitar is a nice way. You can get into a meditative state playing your guitar. but it is not a yoga practice, okay? A teacher should not be practicing with their students because they can't keep an eye on the students, especially if they've got 30 or 40 people in a classroom. How can you keep an eye on 40 people? So don't let them BS you into saying that I practice with my students, that's my practice. If a teacher feels that that's appropriate, maybe they might have a lot of new people in the class, and some people, respond better to visual cues than to auditory cues, to verbal cues. So a teacher might choose to practice with their students, but they should be practicing in a way that they can look at the students and they're kind of demonstrating, but that should not be their daily practice. So this is why we say that you have to use your own intuition, your own gut instinct. If you feel that something is a little off, if the particular teacher that you're looking into, if you feel that they are more interested in their own egos and this whole mentality, look at me, look what I can do, or getting more followers on social media, then go to the next teacher. There's teachers all over the place. One thing that my teacher used to say is that the best yoga teachers are oftentimes not the most beautiful yoga teachers, and sometimes they can't even do yoga postures like a ballet dancer can do, but they have a lot of understanding about their own limitations, and they can teach you to understand your own limitations.
And the beauty of a good practitioner, whether it's a student or a teacher,
right,
is the grace in which they move and breathe.
Right.
And that's the beauty. It's not the shape, it's not the size, it's not the depth of the posture. It's the awareness, the sensitivity, the connection to breath, and a true understanding of that union that's happening with each moment.
And this is why you have to use your own intuition, and you have to ask questions, okay? If you're not going to ask questions, then just go to any doctor. Whoever somebody tells you need a doctor, just go to them. Don't even investigate to see if they're a good doctor. Just go, right? But if you want to find a really good teacher, make sure they have a teacher, make sure they have a daily practice, make sure that you get the sense that they're going to be a friend to you. And this is why...
That they really care about you.
Yeah.
Not that they're just going to invite you to a party or something like that,
right,
but they care about your well-being and they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this goes to, the practices of a bodhisattva. Like, to be a real spiritual friend is to care about the betterment of another person. They're not going to tell you yes, I'm your yoga teacher and I'm going to help you, and then, oh, do you want to go to the bar after class?
Right.
That's not a friend.
Right.
That's not a real friend. A real friend is going to say, here's a great book I think you'll like about, yoga or spirituality or mindfulness, or something that's going to be helpful for you, not to hurt you.
Or let's sit and have a cup of tea together and, tell me more about you, or I can tell you more about me. This is why, if you just think about it, and I'm not knocking all yoga studios here, but if you think about it, that there's a lot of industrial yoga out there, meaning that it's just a commodity, and it's something that they're trying to buy and sell. They're trying to buy and sell yoga. If you think about this, if you go to a yoga studio where there's regularly 500 to 1,000 people going in and out of that studio on a regular basis, how can any teacher that teaches at that studio know every person, right? This is why I think it's better to find a smaller studio that doesn't have tons of people. Our studio, we knew everybody's names. There's other small yoga studios out there. The owners themselves still teach the classes. They might have some other teachers on staff as well. but there's several of them that I know personally, that we know personally, that know every person. You know, they understand something about their physical health, their mental health. You know, maybe they might understand a little bit about personally what their types of things they might be going through, their personal history and things like that. If you can find a small yoga studio and you can get past the fact that there might be only 4 or 5 people in class, not 50 people, so you can stay hidden, that is going to benefit you the most, my friends. To be seen by the teacher so that you can have a more one-on-one experience, even with 4 or 5 people in class. And that teacher knows your name, you know their name, you know something about them, they know about you, you're both friends. You can sit down and have tea together and talk after class. After class, the teacher can approach everybody and say, have a good day at least. How was your practice today? Do you need help with anything? Was there anything that, you know, that didn't feel right for you? You know, and things like this. So, you know, these are the things you have to look for. Take responsibility and take your yoga lightly, but also take it seriously. And if you really want to do something that's going to help you, then yoga is a great way. You know, it's not the only way. As far as exercise, you know, there are other things we can do for exercise. We try to walk daily, try to get as much fresh air as we can. So there, you know, we do eat healthy for sure. We eat an Ayurvedic diet, but you know, so there's these things you can do on your own, and you can learn from your teacher. Your teacher should always have an understanding of the chakra system. They should always know what Ayurveda is. There's plenty of teachers out there that don't even know what Ayurveda is. There's plenty of teachers that don't even know what the chakras are and can't really explain these things to you properly. And finally, the other thing that I think you should do when you investigate a particular yoga teacher, look their name up on Facebook or on social media and look at what their posts are. Okay? Look at what they're posting, what images, what videos they're posting. There's plenty of people out there that are posting images of themselves doing yoga in their lingerie. It wouldn't be appropriate if your doctor posted a video of him doing something in underwear and lingerie. I don't know, you might want to edit this out, but you know, it wouldn't. There's a lot of situations that it wouldn't be appropriate, and that would not be appropriate for your yoga teacher.
What we're saying is a real yoga teacher lives the practice.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a show when they walk into the classroom.
Right.
You know, we are teaching out of our home. We've always lived our yoga from really when we first started practicing daily. Mm-hmm. It became a part of our lives. Yeah. And so there's no separation. And that's what you want to look for, that authenticity, that they're actually yogis. They're not just a yoga teacher an hour a day, right? But they're yogis living in the world as yogis. They're mindful. They practice kindness. Yeah. You know, they don't have a secret life that they're trying to keep hidden from everybody.
Right. A couple of times I've heard a couple of yoga teachers say this. They said, now, you know, a lot of yoga teachers have regular full-time jobs. I had a full-time job for a long time. Up until 2016, I worked full-time and helped run the yoga studio and taught yoga. But I've heard other teachers call their teaching, their being a yoga teacher as a side hustle. Your yoga teacher should not be a yoga teacher whose side hustle is teaching yoga. Look for a yoga teacher who, like Durga Devi said, lives their yoga. Yoga is their life. And everything that they do is based on yoga teachings, yoga philosophy, the art and practice of yoga in all its forms. Not just that they do asana practice all the time, but that they are a good human being, that they're good human beings, that they live according to the principles of yoga, that they're compassionate, kind, loving people. All right, my friends, we've got many more episodes coming up, a lot of things that we're going to talk about. Some of them might be shorter videos, some of them might be longer videos like this, but we hope to share through this process some of our own journey so you can get a better understanding of who we are, the teachers that we've been with, some of our crazy experiences that we've had, some of the mystical experiences, the mysterious experiences, and a lot of crazy experiences as well. So we'll be sharing more about our understanding of yoga, how we live our life today, what we do. I might even talk about some of our faults, because we all have faults. There's always improvement that can be made, right? So we're constantly trying to improve ourselves and be better human beings. And this is the way to happiness. I mean, what our teacher used to say is stop seeking and start living. So the idea is to, through the art and practice of yoga, to realize that this is it. This moment is it. This is life. And we better learn to live it and learn to enjoy this life as it is, because if we're always thinking into the future that once I get this, once I make enough money, once I retire, once my kids graduate, once I get a new car, once I get a better house, everything will be better. And those things will never satisfy you, because once you achieve those things, there'll always be something else.
And you're missing your life.
And you're missing your life.
out on living.
Yeah. So live this life every day. Don't take anything for granted. We never know when our last day will be on this earth. Could be tomorrow. It could be 20 years from now. And it doesn't matter how old we are. Live your life now. If you'd like more information on what we offer, Durga Devi does one-on-one coaching. You could probably write her and schedule a short Zoom session or maybe a short personal talk if you're in the area, and just investigate if you think that she might be a right fit for you, if you want to do some coaching. And she can also, then in that type of scenario, she can also investigate you a little bit and see if she can help you. You could also join our virtual yoga studio. We stream classes during the week, every week of the year. We offer some other courses online. And of course, coming up in January 2024, Durga Devi is going to be leading... 2025, geez. Durga Devi is going to be leading a 6-month program. It's part of our Warrior's Journey program, which we've done for several years now. It's been a year-long program. This one's going to be a 6-month program. You can check out more online. You can write her. If you want more information, schedule a short call. I'm sure she'd be happy to do that. And this is on healing our physical body, and in the process, healing our mental body, our emotional body, and our spiritual body. And it's all based around the liver. The liver is the source, right?
Yeah, it's said to be like the third brain of the body, with the brain and then the thyroid and then the liver.
Yeah.
And so it's very significant in healing our physical body, but also emotions and trauma and processing that.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, and I'll bet that Durga Devi would concur with this, is that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 65 years old, doesn't matter. I would bet that Durga Devi would agree when I say that we all have toxins in our body. There's probably heavy metals in our body. We start off at a young age eating a lot of junk food, and we're just poisoning our body and our system.
We're seeing it in younger and younger people.
Yeah.
30-year-olds that have really severe issues already, including mental issues like depression and things like this. This is all liver related, and a lot of skin issues, liver related. So yeah, it's a big topic. You can look it up online. You'll find a lot is happening around the liver.
Yeah. But this program is going to be guided by Durga Devi, so you're going to have support.
Yes.
And the good news is that we can detoxify our livers, and we can restore our health.
You can actually do a lot of rejuvenation for the liver. Like, it's not like, oh, it's damaged and that's it. Yeah. You can actually reverse a lot of the damage and release safely a lot of the toxins that the liver does store. That's part of the liver's job. is to actually protect us. And so it stores all these toxins, but what happens is as we age, we lose the ability. The liver can't store anymore. And so then what happens is we end up with all these symptoms, including a lot of menopause symptoms. It's not just from menopause. It's that time of life when you're in your 50s, and guess what? Your liver needs a break. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be releasing, restoring, rejuvenating, and recovering, regenerating our health.
So check that out. That's on our houseofyogavirtual.com website now. You can go onto onto that page. You can sign up if you want to sign up. Put in your email, and we send out emails regularly. We don't bombard your mailbox. We won't be sending you an email every day, so you won't have to deal with that electronic intrusion every day. But we do send out regular emails. Some of them have a lot of really good information. If we're having a special event, we always make sure people know what's coming up with us. And you can investigate the Warrior's Journey 2025 on there. And like I said, if you're interested but you're not sure, if you need more information, just send an email. You can find Durga Devi's email address on the homepage of our virtual yoga site, and just reach out to her and say, please let me know a little bit more. She can answer some questions via email. Like I said, if you'd like, you can schedule a phone call or a quick 10 or 15 minute Zoom session if you're really serious about it, about investigating it. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time. Namaste. Blessings. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.